lovely messages to my family and to myself, uh, in spite of and in honor of the recent passing of my father over the last 2 weeks. It has indeed been a difficult time, but in the spirit of my father, Eustace Lester Michael Martin Agard, I come to you today living a liberated life. My father lived a full life, and so today I continue to live in his memory and in his honor. And I am so excited and delighted during this Women's History Month to have joining me today a woman and a young lady who hail from, they're not from Nashville, but they are joining us all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, family. They are coming to us live from Nashville, Tennessee, my alma mater, the Fisk University. Yes, the historic Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. And many of you have seen over the recent weeks, months, over the last year, you have been able to see and you've been privy to the wonderful things going on down there in Nashville. Nashville, Tennessee, Fisk University has rich history, but we have made history once again over this past year. And how did we do that? We did that by being the first. That's right. The first historically Black college or university to have a gymnastics team, and not just any old gymnastics team, family. This is a gymnastics team that is doing it. They are flipping the charts. You like how I did that? We are flipping the charts. We are out there in the gym doing our thing. And yes, I'm saying we because we are family. We are Fiskites, and we love doing the doggone thing. When I was a younger girl here in New York City, I was a gymnast. I was at the YMC, Jamaica Avenue, for those of you that are in Queens, and I was a gymnast. I even shared with the coach earlier, I have a chipped tooth today because of my time on the uneven bars. But we'll talk about that later. It's not about me tonight. Tonight it is about Fisk University's own Fisk. I think they call them gym dogs. I think that's what they call them. And she'll let us know. But I want to introduce to you a sister beloved who has grabbed gymnastics and Fisk University by the helm in leading our young ladies. None other than Coach Tarver. She is here with us tonight. Come on, Coach. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Great. So wonderful to see you tonight. How is it out there in Nashville?
It's finally warming up. We had a cold snap there for a while, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I moved down south. I thought it would be warmer, but finally warmed up today.
Wonderful. Now, why don't you tell our guests here on Living the Liberated Life where you are from originally? Let them know.
I am from Mount Vernon, New York. So
That's
I am
right,
a New Yorker, born and raised, Mount Vernon, New York.
Money earning Mount Vernon. That's what they call them. The home of, let's name them, the home of,
oh my goodness.
Albie Shore. We've got Heavy Bundiddly D, right?
Yeah. Albie Shore and I graduated the same year, and we were in school together. So
wow, did you go to Mount Vernon High School?
I did. I went to Mount Vernon High School, and I graduated from Mount Vernon High. So I did know Al. I did not know Heavy D. He was a little bit older than me, so he had already been gone by the time I came around. But got some rich alum coming from Mount Vernon.
Right, and Denzel, we can't forget Denzel, right?
Yeah, I wish I'd met him. I never got a chance to meet him either, but maybe one day, maybe he'll be listening to someone in the family here. Will be, saying, "Hey, Denzel, Coach Tarver wants to meet you." So,
right, or maybe he'll make a wonderful donation to Fisk University for the gymnastics team, huh?
That would be fabulous because we are always looking for donations.
I love it. So why don't you let us know a little bit about yourself, about who you are, and what brought you down this path to being the coach at Fisk University?
Me, I've wonderful, long, but storied history. I actually started gymnastics a little later than most, at least serious gymnastics. I started out dancing school in the Bronx and was acrobats, and I was in school, Grimes Elementary School, which changed to Grimes, I think, High School at one point in time, and then the building closed. But my gym teacher told my mom, "You need to get her in gymnastics. She's definitely talented enough." So she put me into a really small gym that was like not really competitive. but more recreational. And then they said, hey, she's talented, move her to the next level. And I went to a YWCA, which was nice, except we had to put the equipment in, move the equipment out every single day. And anyone that's been to a gymnastics gym knows that you don't move equipment in and out. So if you do, it's not the best equipment. And again, I got to a point where they said, well, we can't really bring her any further. It's time to take her to a better facility. So my, mom took me up to a gym in Stamford, Connecticut. So I was traveling every day from Mount Vernon, New York to Stamford, Connecticut, Monday through Friday to do gymnastics. I took the train and then a bus, and then I would walk to the gym 5 days a week. So I went from training 6 hours a week to training 20 hours a week. But I loved it. I loved every second of it. I was there for about 3 years. And then my coach that was in the gym and in Connecticut purchased part of a gym in New York in Yonkers. So I moved with him because, I went from a 45, 50-minute commute to a 15-minute commute. So that was where I ended up graduating from high school. From there, I as a gymnast, I was an elite gymnast. So I'd made the U.S. national team. Nice. So for my junior and senior year, which was my goal. A lot of people asked, did you want to go to the Olympics? And I said, no, that wasn't really my goal because I knew that wasn't really going to happen in my time. I didn't have the right body type, which is somewhat of a stereotype for Black gymnasts. I had a butt and I had curves, and they weren't looking for that at the time. They wanted, people that look like a straight line. So, and that's just not what you see in a lot of gymnasts, but especially a lot of Black gymnasts. We have, we have our curves. So I knew that it really wasn't a possibility. So for me, it was to make the national team and to get a college scholarship. And that happened my senior year. I got offered a scholarship at University of Georgia. And believe it or not, there was no reason other than the fact that, I loved when I went there and I felt really at home. But the coach said to me, hey, you can help us get over this hump and to become national champions. Because they hadn't done it before. They were close. They had finished fourth. I thought, wow, I could be part of something. I could be a part of history here. And believe it or not, I did not realize I was the first Black gymnast to go to Georgia at first when I made the decision. I just thought, of course they went, because my number 2 choice had a Black gymnast on their team. So why would there not be a gymnast at Georgia? But I found out when I got down there that I was the first and only Black gymnast at the University of Georgia. And it was quite interesting to go from New York to Georgia. First time I went to a football game, which anyone that knows about the SEC and the South knows that football is God there.
Right.
Any given Saturday at a home game, there's 100,000 people around, those that get into the game and those that just are tailgating and hanging out and watching it on TV. But the very first time I went to a game and people were barking. And I was like, what did I get myself into? I'm used to Manhattan. I'm used to New York City. I'm used to the Bronx. I'm used to Mount Vernon. And next thing you know, I'm walking around and people are barking at each other and just
like humans.
And then all of a sudden, inside the game, they do a cheer and everyone starts barking. And it's like, there's 80,000 people barking right now. And I was like, what am I doing here? But you know what? It only took one weekend, and the next weekend I was barking along with them. So I loved it. I love the whole atmosphere of, football, and just, it is like nothing else you've ever been to see a tailgate on a Saturday. So I enjoyed my time. My freshman year, we won the national championship. So that was, the reason I went to Georgia was in order to help to help the team make that goal. And so we did it my freshman year. I was so like, okay, great. Now I got to set another goal for myself. So my next goal was to become a national champion as a individual, but also to help the team win again, because once is not enough. So my junior year, we won a national championship as a team again. And then I was national champion in the all around, as well as floor exercise. And again, at the time, I had no idea that I was the first Black gymnast to do it.
Wow.
It was unimaginable to me that there would not have been another Black gymnast that won a national championship. I mean, how is that
Can you
possible?
tell me about what year this was, if you don't mind? I don't want you to age
1989.
yourself, but
Yeah, I'll age myself. I'm 1989.
okay, okay. So
So,
we're in the
it,
80s. That's in the 80s,
yes.
and you're the first, right?
Hmm. And honestly, I didn't realize it until I was in the press conference after the meet and somebody brought it up. A reporter brought it up, and I was like, really? I was like, oh,
Hmm.
they're like, how do you feel? And I was like, oh, I didn't know I was, so I don't really have a feeling at the moment. Let me process. And then I can tell you
Right.
after I process this news. But honestly, I kind of was thinking about what my next goal was. Um, and where, like, what next year and coming back and what I was going to do and what I wanted to accomplish. So it took a little while before the true magnitude of it hit me, probably years before it
Hmm.
really hit me.
Right.
That you were the first Black gymnast to win the all round. Like, that's significant. So, um, yeah. So from there, I, believe it or not, went to law school. I wanted to
Hmm.
be a sports agent. And I went to law school because I thought I needed a contracts background. Moved back to New York, went to New York Law School in Manhattan, and I interned at an agency where they were sports agents, and I realized this was not for me. I could not do this. I am not a used car salesman, and
Mm.
like, I can't do this because it's so cutthroat. And not that I don't like a challenge, I love a challenge. But at that point in time, there were so few women in the field and there were no Black women. And, usually that to me is like all I need to do it, to take it on. But, the type of personality needed to be successful, I realized that that's just not me. It's not who
Hmm.
I am. And I don't want to become somebody I'm not.
Hmm.
So I ended up getting involved in college athletics as a administrator. And I thought this is
Oh,
the best of both worlds. I get to put my degree to use and I get to work in athletics, which is what I wanted to do. And I did that for about 10 years and burnt out a little bit, decided to take a break, and then went into college coaching and loved that. Did that for a little while at the University of Pennsylvania. And then from there, I took a break from college athletics and just coach club, got married, had children, had a family. And I was ready to get back into the workforce. I had been coaching gymnastics since I was 15, so I never stopped coaching. And I wanted to get back into the workforce. So I talked to my husband about, I'm ready to go back to full time work and start looking for a job. And next thing you know, I get a phone call from Fisk University saying, "Hey, would you
wow.
be interested in the job?" And I said, "I have no idea. I don't know much about Fisk." And I had never, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I hadn't heard about Fisk because I never looked at HBCUs. I mean, I knew the ones
Mm.
that were around us and the ones that were in Georgia, obviously from going to school there. But outside of the ones that were, famous like Tuskegee or Morehouse or Spelman or Howard, I hadn't really heard of many HBCUs. I mean,
Mm.
there was no gymnastics, so why would I even look at it?
Right, right.
They said, we want to be the first HBCU to add to sport gymnastics. We are going to add it, and we'd love you to be our coach. And I said, all right, I can do this. And I said, yeah, let's
Wow.
do this. Let's do this. And then they said, oh, and we're starting a team in 4 months. I said, great. I got 4 months to
In
put a
4
team
months.
together. And yeah, they hired me in March and they said,
So
we're going to
that's
compete in
scouting.
2030.
That's you scouting and searching for the athletes, everything.
That was, they hired me in March and the athletes, well, freshmen had to report July 30th. So I literally had
Wow.
about 4 months to put an entire team together. And I was like, okay, we got this. Bet. Challenge taken. Challenge accepted. And we did. We did. We got 15 and we got some amazing athletes on our team. And
Absolutely.
I was, but it wasn't easy. I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of sleepless nights. There was a lot of stress. There was a lot of worry about whether or not we were going to be able to pull it off. So I wouldn't recommend anyone try to put an entire program together in 4 months, but we did it, and we had a great year.
So what would you say it was the most challenging part for you?
There was
So
everything.
many, right?
Well, I think it's because there was just so many things. I mean, people don't realize how many things go into a program. And
Mm,
usually things are somewhat in place. So you're just kind of continuing it on what you started. But, it was a lot of things that I didn't even realize I didn't have until I realized I didn't have it. It was like
mm,
one day it's like, oh yeah, we have to have this too. Oh, wait a minute, we have to have that. Because I'm so used to already have
mm.
being there that you don't
Right.
have to worry about it. And we did, because we were starting from nothing. So
Yeah.
the majority of the beginning was just getting a team. I mean, I was on the
Yeah.
phone, I was Zoom calls with different athletes, and the worst thing is I didn't have any answers for them.
Mm.
I was selling them on a dream. I, you know, they
Absolutely.
they asked me, where are we going to work out? I have no idea. The gym was like, I have no idea. How many
So
scholarships
I
do you
know if
have?
Fisk,
I have no idea.
like Fisk has never been, well, I won't say never, but Fisk is not known for its athletic department, right? We go to the basketball game for homecoming, and we go and we cheer, but we're like, we're probably not going to win. Like, let's just be really real. If there are any Fisk guys out there, you're just like, woohoo, I'm going to wear my blue and gold and cheer and support them, but the likelihood of them winning is very slim to none, right? And now, I had Coach Kenny Anderson on about 2 years ago when he first became the coach, and he's another New Yorker that is down there in Nashville.
Mm,
But because we're not really known for our athletic department or any of those things, music, yes. Academics, yes. But I think that's one of the reasons why so many alum are so excited about Fisk having something that we can cheer for, right? We
mhm.
can really, really root our girls on, our athletes on, and really be in the stands. And I was one that was in the stand with a few other Fiskites when you were in New Jersey at Rutgers. And what was really, really funny was one of my sisters went to Rutgers and I went to Fisk. And we never have a clashing of the teams because Rutgers and, being an
Yeah.
HBCU. But it was like, yeah, she said, I'm going to wear my Rutgers sweatshirt. And I was like, you're not invited because we wanted it to be all blue and gold, blue and gold. But, and so you spoke about the lack that is there at Fisk. What if someone were to gift the Fisk gymnastics team something? Name your top 5. I mean, we don't know where this is going to go. We don't know who might be listening, who we may forward this to. If there were 5 things today, Coach Tarver, 5 things today that you would desire for the Fisk University gymnastics team to have, what would those 5 things be?
Number one is a gym. We are currently renting space, and it is very limited in time. So we have to be done by a certain time. And with classes, it makes it so difficult for us to get our entire team together. In the fall, we were basically in shifts. So we
Mm,
had workout on Saturday and Sunday just so the entire team could work out at the same time. And when you're bringing 15, 16 girls onto a campus, they're all pretty much new. Even though they've known each other, they don't know each other. They just know each other in passing. And you're trying to get that cohesiveness, yet you had 3 working out here, 2 working out here, 7 working out here, 5 working out here, and they're coming in shifts and they're coming in and out. And we couldn't get them all at the same time. And it was really hard
mm,
to get that team bonding that we
mhm,
needed, because we had to be done by that time, and we could have practiced later and gotten together, but because of the facility we couldn't.
mm.
And we actually drove like 45 minutes to an hour on Saturdays because the gym that we rented wasn't available on Saturdays. So we just had to do jump through so many hurdles. And it
Mm-hmm.
really put us back a little bit in getting the team ready mentally because they hadn't bonded like we needed them to
Mm-hmm.
for a while. So our number
Okay.
one priority is getting a gym on campus.
On campus, right? Okay.
Yes. So that is something like we are working on getting a rendition and, planning out what it is we want. So that'd be number one. Number two would be an apparel deal would be nice.
Oh
um,
yeah.
Gymnastics, I love how people just don't understand how gymnastics works. And our people at Fisk, especially, when we talked about, yeah, we need leotards. And they were like, oh, you get one for home, one. No, we get 3 leotards. And then next year we'll get 3 new ones. And then I said, gymnastics leotards are part of the sport. There's actually rankings every week where they look at the leotards and they rank the leotards or they grade the leotards. That is part of the sport. The more sparkle, the better. The more sparkle, the more expensive. So it is something that is a yearly thing. You don't keep one and then have it for several years. Whereas basketball, you have one home, one away, one practice, or
Right.
maybe 2
Right.
practice.
Mm-hmm.
We have, we need to have like 4 or 5 practice, and then we have to have, 4 or 5 in the rotation leotards. And you can't wear the leotards too many years because people will be like, whoa, that's the same one they had, 2 years ago.
Right.
And it's, we're out there. So we had to make sure we came ready to go because, our leotards were looked at. That was, we were in the rankings. So, and we didn't, our leotards were amazing this year, beautiful, but it can be very, very expensive, believe it or not. Depending on how many jewels you have, a leotard can cost up to $500, $600 per. And that,
Wow.
and then a warm up leotard's another $150. So to outfit one athlete can be it usually runs around $500 to outfit each athlete. And you figure,
Wow.
we should have about 20 to 23 on the team next year. And you get 2 or 3 of those, it becomes pricey.
Price.
So
Right.
that doesn't include all the other
Okay.
stuff. That doesn't include warm up suits and, and t-shirts and shorts and all the other fun stuff that goes with the
Nice.
sport.
Just the paraphernalia to represent the university in itself,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes. And we've had a
Yeah.
lot of great donations this past year that have helped out tremendously, but we still have a ways to go. And you're like, well, next year we're going to have to start all over again. And of course they're looking at me like, well, you just got it this year. I'm like, yeah, but that was last year's, just
Right.
gymnastics. Gymnastics. It's kind of like being a celeb, you don't celebrities can't be seen in the same clothing over and over
That-
again. That just
That's
doesn't work.
right. And it's not just a pair of earrings to change the look of the
No,
outfit, right?
no, it's a complete different look, different style, different everything. So
Right.
that would probably be number 2. Number 3 is we end up traveling a lot because of space. I mean, like where we're going to, even if we're on a bus. This gymnastics is one of those sports where you can't travel and then get off the bus and compete. Really, um, it's the kind of sport that if you're tired, if your body's cramping up or aching, it can be extremely dangerous. It's the difference between you making it and you landing on your neck.
Right.
Most sports are not like that. You don't have to worry about, oh, I missed my foot, I can land on my neck. So
Hmm. Hmm.
whenever we travel, we go the night before so that the girls have a chance to rest and to stretch out and to get their bodies ready for competition so that we don't have any injuries or incidents. So even when, for a lot of our teams, they could be on a bus for 3 or 4 hours, get off and play a basketball game. It may take a little bit to get warmed up, but
Right.
they can safely play it. Is it ideal? No, but
Right.
it's safe. Gymnastics, not so much. So
Right.
we have a lot more hotel stay, a lot more buses, things of that nature. So it's not that it's undoable. It's just something that we have. For us, we want to take it seriously and not make sure that our athletes are safe. Now, again, with the leotards, all this other stuff, can you do without? Yes. Should we do without? No, because Fisk has become quite well known. So I have a feeling that if we did, everyone would be like, why are they wearing the same leotards again? How come it's the same? Um, Honestly, other than that, just believe it or not, those would be our we don't, our biggest expenses are we need a gym, but that's kind of, pricey. That's a $4 million price
Right.
tag. Um,
Right.
and then travel and then apparel. Those are our three biggest obstacles that we are looking for.
Okay. And so tell me some, and I know we have another special guest who's going to join us in just a moment, but I want to know when you are looking for your girls, when you are looking for the ideal Fisk athlete, what are you looking for? What does that look like for you?
Um, Honestly, we each year we look at what our holes are, where we're weak, what event, if we're losing someone or if we had to compete people who maybe aren't strong at an event, and that is what we look for is athletes who can
Mhm.
fill the holes that we have and to make the team stronger. Um, or athletes that can supplement or help out. One of our biggest issues this year was that we didn't have numbers. So when people were
Mm,
either hurting or were tired, like we compete every weekend. And understand for the sport of gymnastics, most gymnasts will compete 6 or 7 times during a season, and that's between December and April. We compete 11 times. Well, actually, for some, it'll be
mm,
12 times between January and, well, 11 times between January and March.
wow.
So we compete twice as much in half the amount of time. So their
Mhm.
bodies get beat up very, very quickly. And
Mhm.
we didn't have, substitutes, for lack of a better word, to be able to come in and compete so that we could rest people. We didn't have enough numbers to do that. So that is part of what we're looking for, is that if we have to take, this athlete out who is scoring a 9.8, do we have someone else we can put in that can at least score a 9.7?
Right. Right.
So, if we're gonna lose a 9.8, we don't want to drop down too much from losing, these two scores. So we are trying to fill holes. I want good students. I want young ladies that carry themselves with dignity and, no craziness. That's rare for gymnasts, but usually you might run into it. But and those that understand this is an HBCU, so
Yes.
you're not going to get the same thing as you get as a state school, a state PWI with 30,000 students. You're not going to
Right.
have, um, things aren't going to be the same, although we do try to get things as close to other teams as possible, which hence
Mhm.
the apparel, the leotard stuff, so that
Right.
they don't
Right.
feel like they're missing out because they
Mhm.
made a decision to go to an HBCU. They know that they're still getting the same treatment as they would at or as close as possible.
PW.
As
Right.
close as
Right.
possible. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's still some things to go, but we're getting closer and closer.
Wow, really, really. I mean, this for me. I have to say that I was kind of hating a little bit. I'll admit it because I was like, oh my goodness, I might have. I was a dance minor at Fisk,
Uh-huh.
so I did the dancing and everything. And as I told you, I did some. I was a gymnast when I was younger. So I was just like, I wonder if I would have got myself together and been a part of the team because it's been so exciting just seeing all of the advertisements about Fisk going here, Fisk going to be there, and really Fisk being on the map. We've been on the map with the Jubilee Singers, right? And so that's always been wonderful. We won a Grammy a few years ago, but now to have us be the first, and it's just been really, really great. And so I applaud you for taking on the task. You were the first, and you didn't know it before when you were a gymnast, but now you're first, and you dove right into it. And so with that being said, we have another wonderful individual who has joined us. And Coach, I'm going to give you the opportunity to introduce our next wonderful guest that is going to join us because you know her better than I do.
Joining us now will be one of Fisk University's freshman gymnasts, Haley Clark, who hails from Orlando, Florida.
All right, we are adding Haley. Haley, Oh,
Hi,
what? 1 minute, 1 minute. I think she's on. Are you on, Haley?
on.
Keep
Can you
jumping
hear
her.
me?
Are you? There you are. Hi,
Hi.
Haley. How are you? Welcome to Living the Liberated Life with
Good.
Dr. Cage. I'm going to see if I can get you better on this screen. This layout might be a little. That's better. Now we can see everyone. Wonderful. Welcome, Orlando. So you are used to being in sunny Orlando, Florida.
Yes, I
And you believe that dreams come true, huh?
am. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What brought you to the illustrious Fisk University?
So, I guess what mainly brought me here is one, to be able to have both the duality of having gymnastics, and going to an HBCU. The majority of my family graduated from Florida A&M University, so it was always in the back of my mind just to attend an HBCU, if not to go to FAMU. And so with that, I can still continue that tradition and legacy by coming here. And then I can also continue I get to continue my gymnastics career by being a part of this team, and just having this opportunity is really great.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. I love that. You're a freshman, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. And what is your major?
I'm biology pre-med.
Oh, so we're gonna have a flipping doctor, huh?
Yes.
Wonderful one. So now you've been hearing all this wonderful stuff being the first. What does it mean to you to be the first?
There's really not much that I can really even put into words for what we're doing here. I always say it all the time. I don't really know about my teammates, but me personally, I just don't think that I really still understand like the magnitude of what we're doing out here. It's really like an outside looking in kind of situation where, everyone else who's watching us, can kind of see the impact. But because we're a part of such a great, program and such a great just thing in general, that has to do with HBCU culture, it's something that I can't put words to.
Wow. So what is the buzz around campus like?
I mean, it's kind of cool. Like whenever like we're all together, a lot of us, we kind of band together in the same group whenever we hang out with people, or even just going to the cafeteria or something like that, just to be like, oh, that's your gymnastics team. Or like you'll hear someone like in the back, like they won't even like, speak to us, but they'll be like, oh, that's your gymnastics team right there. Those are the little gymnastics girls or something like that. So just to even have people recognize us, it's crazy.
So is it really different on campus versus being around Nashville? Or if you're catching a flight and you're flying somewhere and they see you with these, Fisk warm-ups on, what is that like? Is it really different for you?
I mean, it's something I've never experienced anything like this before, but it's kind of like the on-campus thing. Like I can't even count how many airports that we've been in, but we've been recognized so many times. We've had people just be like, oh, those are the Fisk girls. Let's get a picture. Or, hey, y'all are doing something really great. So just to have that recognition is just, again, it's amazing. And then again, like on campus, like you'll have professors or you'll have alumni who are here on campus, like, oh, you're one of the gymnasts. Can I have a picture? Something like that. So, it's just a little celeb thing we all have to get used to.
So look, you were going to college and now you become a celebrity. It's like being catapulted into the world in just a few short weeks, right, of your life, right?
Never would.
So tell me now, I know you, more time for me.
Sorry, say that again. I kind of froze.
Oh yeah, I froze as well. I was asking you to repeat what you just said.
Oh, I was just saying it was something I never even would have thought of happening.
Yeah. So now you were overheard 3 things that she had, her wish list for you and the team.
Mm-hmm.
What would you your list?
I guess my top 3 would be 1, most definitely the gym. It's kind of been just a managing act, kind of dealing with the equipment that we have to work with at the local gym around here is definitely not anything that I'm used to just from training in club gymnastics for pretty much my entire gymnastics career. So a new gym would be great. Just have our own facility so that we can all come in, work out on our own equipment would be great. Um, I guess another thing would be having like a, a in gym athletic trainer, I guess if you will. We really just have one that's like the athletic trainer here. He's really just for all the sports, and he only works here a certain amount of time because he's also an AT at another school. So to have our own personal trainer to be in the gym with us, to tape up our ankles or to supply ice or anything that kind of caters to us would be great. And I guess again, what Coach had said was probably like the apparel, just to have more. I guess another deal or a better deal, if anything, just to have more leotards or I guess nicer apparel just to wear out and to go to meets would be great.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, both of you have shared some really great wish list items, and I really hope and pray that as a result of you all joining us, somebody will hear and your wishes, because after all, Haley is from Orlando, Florida, where dreams come true, right? Disney World. So we
Yes.
hope that we get some Disney fairy dust to sprinkle on Fisk, right? So let me ask both of you now. Both of you are gymnasts. You started out about how old were you, Coach, when you started? About how old were you?
Well, when I went to a serious gym, meaning like kind of like the gym that Haley did club gymnastics at, or like that we work at, I was actually 8th grade. So I was older. I like I said, my first couple of gyms were a YWCA, and then before that was what's called a Turner's, and it was again, we didn't even have full equipment. We tumbled on panel mats and stuff. So as far as serious gymnastics, I was in 8th grade.
And how about you, Ellie?
I was around the age of I think 8
When
or
did you
9.
start?
So I was a little bit older than the typical gymnast, but it was younger than Coach.
And so the typical gymnast is about how old, would you say?
Some girls will start in mommy and me classes, so they could be toddlers, maybe 2 or 3, sometimes maybe 5, but really around like those young ages, like 2 to 5.
So they're tumbling at that age. They're tumbling real young.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say, let's say I was maybe 25, 30 years younger. Work with me. And I was a freshman at Fisk, and I was just like, oh, I can flip. Oh, I can do that. I can do all these wonderful things. I want to be on the gymnastics team, but I've never done tumbling classes, something I did in the backyard with my brothers and sisters or something like that. Would you say that I would be trainable, workable, or would you say I'd probably recommend you just sit this one?
I would say welcome to FIRSTS Gymnastics, and we'd love you to be our team manager.
Team manager, I love it.
that would be about where we took it. The team manager. Gymnastics is not the kind of sport that you can. We're not in a position to teach per se. We can help athletes along as far as if they already have the basis of certain skills for upper level skills, but we don't have the time or the ability to bring someone up from level to level like you do in a club setting. It's very time consuming. We don't have that much time in the gym. We just, and there's too many athletes that we have to focus on to give someone the kind of attention you would need to teach for that far. So we look for gymnasts who are already level 10 gymnasts, because that's the rules that we compete, our level 10 rules in college, or modified level 10 rules. So if you're not a level 10, not that there's no chance of being on a team, but it definitely diminishes the chance unless you are someone that has skills. You might be a level 9, but you have the skills to be able to put together to be successful. And we do have a couple of girls on our team who were able to do that. But, the majority of, actually all of our team except for maybe 2 people were level 10 gymnasts. So again, it's not impossible, but it's improbable.
Mhm. So would you say that the young ladies that you have now, would you say that you can foresee someone, you said the Olympics was not something on the radar for you, but is that the dream or the desire for any of the young ladies on the team? I don't know, Haley, if you know, talking in the rooms, late at night when
It's
you're supposed
not.
to be resting up. No?
Also, well, no, because you got to realize these girls were all level 10s. In order to go to the Olympics, you have to be an elite gymnast. So it's a completely different animal. It's elite gymnasts practice 40 to 50 hours a week. They train twice a day. They train 6 days a week. It is, I mean, if you look at the gymnasts currently who are going to shoot for the Olympics, they are all taking a gap year, or they're deferring a year, and they're actually going to leave college gymnastics and go train at a club, because you can't really be successful training in college. It's just, there's not enough time. There's just not enough, it's the same thing. It's not enough time to dedicate to one person. There's not enough hours to train that person. It's just not feasible to do. So there are, I believe, I know Suni Lee already is deferring, says she's deferring, and I believe Jordan Childs is going to do that too at UCLA. They're going to take a year off to train for the Olympics. So
Okay.
it's
Nice.
not really,
nice.
and they were already, world champion. And I don't know what Jade Carey is, if she's going to do it or not. I don't know. Have you heard, Haley?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything yet.
So, so our athletes weren't at that
See,
level.
I was around in the Dominique Dore days.
Oh, we got to meet her. She was at the meet
I
George
saw
Washington.
that.
She's amazing.
Yes, I did see that. How was that for you?
It was crazy. I mean, to even see her at, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Dominique Dawes. And then like the fact that she became over and spoke to us and even was just, congratulating us on what we're doing and how inspired she felt. I was like, she's an inspiration. To hear that she's like inspired by us was just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? It was just
so tell me, how did you do? Go ahead, Coach.
I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, I was saying I'd already met Dominique when she was younger. I had told the story about Dominique, and she's like, she didn't remember at first, but then as I started telling her the story, she's like, oh my gosh, I remember that. And we talk about, Black girls in the sport of gymnastics. She was at a meet, and I was actually in college at the time, and she was not with her mom wasn't there. So her mom had done her hair so that her coach didn't have to, because her coach is white and couldn't do Black girl hair. And somebody pushed her in the pool, and her hair went. And so the coach was like panicking because she didn't know what to do. And she saw me, and she's like, Corrine, do you know how to do cornrows? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, can you do Dominique's hair? She's in the pool. And I'm like, don't worry, I got you. I'll take care of it. We'll make her look good. And so I ended up doing her hair for the meet. And it was just, at first, like I said, she didn't remember it at first, but then she was like, I remember that meet. She goes, I didn't realize that was you. And I'm like, yeah, that was me. Black girl hair. You know what I mean?
You changed her. Right. You say sister saving sisters.
Wow. She was a little sister.
Wow,
I said,
cool.
yeah,
that's
was
cool.
there.
So let me ask you guys, and we're not going to be much longer. I'm going to see if there's anybody who has any questions for you. But I do want to know how this year went. How did this year meet your standard? Where did you guys rank? How did it feel? What did the year? I know over a 1 year period, or this season, with so many new things happening, it was probably difficult to ingest it all. But I'm sure you set a goal, Coach. I'm sure, Haley, you probably said, we want to be at this ranking, or we do this, we want to accomplish this goal, even if we're fresh out of the gate. Did you accomplish your goal? What was your goal? And how do you endeavor to improve on it?
Believe it or not, we did not set those kind of goals. I knew coming in that I had a group of freshmen, a couple of upperclassmen, sophomores. So it was a very, very young team who had no idea how to compete college because it is very different animal. It's like nothing else you have done before, and you have to learn how to manage it. And a lot of times with freshmen, they kind of go really hard fast, and then they end up being beat up because they don't know how to manage the long haul. So going into this, I did not set any goals like team scores or rankings or anything. That's something I don't think I ever really. I mean, maybe occasionally I talked about that we could potentially get to something, but honestly, it was not the goal. Our goal was for the team to improve every weekend, for them to get better, for them to learn, for them to grow, for them to understand how to compete, understand how to be good teammates, how to be good, um, whether you are competing or you're pulling a board, you still need to be there for the team because everybody counts, everybody's important. So I wanted them to just learn to understand that and to get better and better every single meet. So that's kind of, when I talked to the team, it was, I mean, our theme was basically one routine at a time, and that we leaved out in Nashville. So yeah,
Nice.
I don't remember too many times I said, let's go get a 194 or something.
Yeah. How did it feel for you, Haley?
I think again, like Coach had said, we never really set like, standard, you know, uh, I guess expectations that we had for ourselves. We kind of just wanted to go out there and make a name for ourselves just for our first year out there in the gymnastics world. But kind of like as a team, we kind of made like our own little goal 190. In gymnastics or college gymnastics, the highest you can get is a 200. So our goal was to at least hit a 190 total score, and we did do that a few times, and we actually surpassed that. I think we got like a 192 at one of our competitions. So beating our own expectations was a great thing. And then we also kind of set
Nice.
a goal to really learn how to be there for one another, even though we still didn't really know each other. Like when we first got here, we wanted to get to take the time to know who each and every single person was on the team and to know how to support one another. And I think we all did a great job doing that.
That's really cool. So do you all the team now, do you all have every group, I'm sure, has their little clusters, their little crews, right? I'm sure, and I know better than to even ask this question because I already know the Fisk dynamic. I know better than to say, you got any of the Zeta interest, the AK interest, the Delta interest, the Sigma Gamma Rho? I know better than to ask that. However, I'm sure that exists, right? And I'm wondering, as you get to the point where you're able to engage in pledging or joining any organizations other than being on the team, Coach, do you see that being a challenge or impacting the girls in any way?
I can't say no. I'm an AKA, so there's no. I mean, I pledged when I was in college. So how do I say no to doing what I did? So if they want to pledge, let's do it. I mean, the only thing I have told them is that they have to make sure that whomever is, whatever they're doing, the people understand that you still are a gymnast, you still come to work out, and that your sport is dangerous. You can't
Mm-hmm.
you can't go on 2 hours of sleep and come in to practice and be flipping like we do. And the chances of you getting hurt are just too tremendous. And the chances of you not just getting hurt, but maybe losing an entire season because you get hurt, do you really want to give that up? So as long as the people who are within the sorority understand that and realize that they may have to make some concessions whatever they're doing, even if concessions on how long they're at study hall at night, how many hours they're spending at study hall, or how many hours they're spending at community service, that they have to be smart about it, and that they may have to adjust or leave you home from the community service project because you have practice the next day, or and Pledging during season, probably, I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to say yes either. I mean, I might have to have a conversation depending on which one it is. But again, because
if you always know you always have Dr. KJ if any of you want to be a Delta, though. I know that Coach is an AKA, but
well, we already have a Delta on my staff. I mean, my assistant coach is a Delta, so and we believe me, we got representation all over. But I mean, we just have to make sure again that they're just they're being smart about what they do because it is the kind of sport that is life or death. I mean, as a gymnast, I landed on my neck twice. And so, and I walked away both times, but I remember telling my coach, she wanted me to continue to do the skill. And I was in college the second time it happened. And I looked at her and I said, I walked away twice. I might not walk away the next time. It's not worth it for me to do it. Wow. I said, so I'm not doing it anymore. And so, and I was absolutely fine. I was not tired. I was not, my head was 100% in the game and what I was doing. So to do things that we do, that if your head is not 100% in the game, or if your body is, fatigued because, you were standing up at that community service project for a long period of time, it can become dangerous for gymnasts. So as long as everybody is on board and understands, that you might have to figure things out, and then I'm all for it.
Wonderful. So what was your event? What was the one that was your favorite? And then Haley, what is your favorite?
My favorite depends on the year. I'm a ham. I was a big ham. I love floor. I was a good tumbler and I love to show it off and I loved everybody watching me. But honestly, my senior year bars was my favorite event. At one point in time, vaulting was, but floor was my best event. That's what I was national champion on. So.
As of right now, I don't really.
Wonderful. We're gonna have to see some footage of that.
What's your favorite event, Haley?
Go ahead, Haley.
Yeah, the feedback's really bad. I'm not sure if I really have a favorite one right now, but growing up in club gymnastics, it was always bars. Sun even bars. That was my go-to. That was probably just my best event score-wise and just form-wise as well. I think that was my best one.
Wonderful. But this has been very rich. I'm really pleased and excited about what's to come for this university gymnastics team. And as I prepare to close, I'd love for you both to share. I usually ask my guests to share their last liberating thought prior to me ending the show. But I'd also like to add, Coach, for you with any information you are able to share about the documentary that is coming up, as well as some of the things that you are looking forward to seeing as far as persons that are interested in the programming at Fisk. What can they do? How can they contact you?
The documentary, I don't have a whole lot to say. I know that they are in talks with stations to air it. So we're hoping that will be, but that's them doing it. So they'll like notify us when everything's done, kind of thing. It's been fun though, having them there. It's been interesting being mic'd up and, having a camera follow us around the competition and, dorms when they're getting ready and things like that. So that's been interesting. As far as getting in touch with us, it's pretty much the same way that most athletes, they send us an email, videos. That's pretty much the number one way of us figuring out whether or not this is someone that could fit the bill. And then from there, we set up calls and phone calls and things. So yeah, that's actually the way I found most of the athletes was email. They contacted me. Usually they contact us. We do go to some competitions as well to recruit and to look at athletes that we may want to talk to down the road. But a lot of our athletes, they know who we are because of the whole HBCU and Fisk. So they have no problem contacting us.
Great. So what would your last liberating thought be? If you were to share something with someone, encourage someone, what would that thought be?
Good, Haley. I'll let you start it. Your words to
Um,
live by. She has words she lives by.
yeah, I have three words that I live by. It's to be tenacious, to be faithful, and to be resilient. I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations, especially before deciding to even come to FISK and before this opportunity even came up. Um, I had two pretty bad injuries. I think my sophomore and then my senior year of high school that kind of detoured me from even wanting to continue gymnastics in college. And so with that, it really just took those three words to really get through what I did and to be where I am today on this team. So just keep those three words in mind and to keep pushing in your life and you'll get
And tell us
somewhere.
the words again.
The three words
Tell us
are
those three words one more time.
yep, they're to be resilient, faithful, and to be tenacious.
I don't
Wonderful, wonderful. You heard that, guys.
Haley's,
Yes, coach, your turn. You're going to wrap us up.
you know what? I don't have any specific words I live by. Liberating for me, it's just, you know what? Make a decision about what it is you want to do, and then get the job done. I mean, I tell that's kind of how I tell a lot of people. It's like, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. Tell me how to make what you want happen.
Mm.
What needs to happen. So figure out, you know what you want, figure out how you can make it happen. If you need a little assistance, let's go and I'll help steer you. But tell me how you're going to make it happen. And then I will do anything I can to help you get there. So for me, it's just kind of, and I think that that's why I take on the challenges that I do, because I mean, most people, if they say you got 4 months to put a team together, they're going to run for the hills. And I'm like, no, we can get it done. I don't know how I'm gonna get it done, but I'm gonna get it done, and I'm gonna find a solution. I'm gonna find a way. And every time, I just keep going to figure out this didn't work. Try something else. This no, okay, try something else, and keep going until what you need to get done. It works.
I love it. I love it. You all make me proud, my sisters. And coach, I know you didn't attend FISK, but you are indeed a Fiskite. Anyway,
I've been told that
you
quite
are
a bit. We've met a lot of
yes.
alumni. Almost every meet we've been to, there have been alumni at the competition, and we've had a lot of, whether it's they had like events for us and things of that nature. We got to meet a lot of FISK alum. But you know what? I think the biggest surprise for us, for me this year, was not the FISK alum, but the other HBCU alum. We had HBCUs coming in from every possible HBCU you could think of that showed up and were like, Fisk. And I was like, okay, you go to Grambling, but hey, they're all about Fisk,
Right.
You go to Prairie View, but you're all about Fisk. And so they just wanted to support Fisk
Right.
Gymnastics.
Right.
And it didn't matter. They said it doesn't matter.
Wow.
HBCU family. So
That's
obviously,
right.
Fisk
That's right.
Gymnastics
And
is
it's
bigger than
beautiful.
Fisk.
Wow.
Fisk Gymnastics bigger than
Yeah.
Fisk. It's about HBCU family.
Yeah. Yeah. And it definitely has. I know when I was in Jersey and we were at the meet, there were people and they said, we're here because of FISK. Like they were like, we wouldn't have come to this meet if it was just everybody else. But we're here. They didn't go to FISK. They had no children that went to FISK or any of that. They just came simply because there was an HBCU that was going to be a part of the meet and they wanted to share support and root you guys on. And I even took joy in seeing little girls on their daddy's shoulders that were there, hold up the bulldog and, cheering you all on when you all came over to our side. And that was so beautiful, so sweet. And even you guys, you ladies have been so kind and so gracious and so sweet that when we were there, you guys waved back. I know that you all don't have your best days every day, but you all were engaging with the crowd. You waved back. You spoke to the little girls. So it was just really beautiful to see us really connect as not just a Fisk family, but as an HBCU family, as just persons that love the skin we're in. How about that? And so it was very beautiful. It was really great. And so I thank you both for taking time out of your bills. Is the season over?
For the team, yes, we still have nationals. We have 5 girls that qualified to USAG Collegiate National Championships. So we will go there next, 2 weeks. So, but the rest of the team, their season
Okay.
is
Well, we'll
over.
be cheering them. Is there a way we
You
can
broke
we
up,
see
sorry.
that competition anywhere? Or
It's probably gonna be streamed.
are
I'm
we able
sure
to see that competition?
it'll be streamed, I believe. I don't know what the streaming will be because they haven't sent that out yet. It's going to be held by Texas Women's University in Denton, Texas. So I'm sure if you go on to their site, there probably is going to be a link.
Okay.
Once we find out where the link will be, we'll send that through our social media platforms as well, and we'll probably do. We might go. We do Instagram Live a lot of times, so we can do our competitions Instagram Live.
Yes.
So we'll find a way to get it out there.
Well, wonderful. Yeah. And we will be watching and waiting. Well,
Thank you.
all, I want you to know that you are in our thoughts. You're in our thoughts. You're in our prayers. We are excited about you. And in those moments where you feel down, when you ask yourself those questions, when you're in the dorm, Haley, and you're like, I want to go to that party, but I have a meet tomorrow. Just remember that you being some of the first women, the first as far as HBCUs, as far as Fisk, we are rooting for you. We're praying for you. We're covering you, and we celebrate you. We thank you, Coach, for taking this task on and for doing it with excellence. We love you both. We love your team, and Fisk forever. We are daughters ever on the altar, and we love you. Thank you so much for joining us on Living the Liberated Life. And we look forward to you, our family that is watching today. We hope you enjoyed today's show. I'm going to ask my guests just to stay just for a few more moments, but I want you all to know that we will be back next month. Next month is the month of April, my favorite month of the year, the month of my birth. We're going to be doing some wonderful things next month, and we want you all to join us. So please stay tuned for our next episode of Living the Liberated Life. And as I always tell you all, live liberated. Bye-bye.